In a galaxy where the powerful Fran Empire conquers worlds with ease, Earth was supposed to be just another trophy. However, the day the humans answered, the Fran regretted invading Earth. When the invasion began, the Fran were greeted with a chilling message: "Welcome to the end of your invasion." Unbeknownst to the invaders, humanity had been preparing for this moment. They were about to learn the true meaning of resistance. How did the Fran, the galaxy's most feared conquerors, underestimate the very species they sought to enslave? Stay tuned as we uncover the day the humans answered, and the galaxy was never the same. The last thing Commander Zack expected to see when his fleet broke through Earth's atmosphere was a massive banner that read, "Welcome to the end of your invasion." For decades, the Fran Empire had been the dominant force in the galaxy, subjugating weaker species and integrating their resources into the Empire's ever-growing hunger for expansion. The Galactic Council had long warned humanity that their days of independence were numbered, yet humanity had remained defiant, rejecting integration with an audacity that bordered on madness. Commander Zack had been tasked with leading the invasion force, a fleet of ships so vast it blotted out the stars as it approached Earth. The Fran expected a swift and brutal victory, much like every other conquest. But from the moment they breached the atmosphere, something felt off. Zack's thoughts were interrupted by the sudden appearance of an enormous, sleek vessel rising from Earth's surface, dwarfing the Fran warships in size and sophistication. Its hull shimmered with a technology unfamiliar even to the seasoned commander. "Sir, we're detecting an energy buildup in that ship," reported Lieutenant Sol, his eyes glued to the readings. "It's like nothing we've ever seen before." Before Zack could respond, a voice boomed through their communication systems, clear and taunting. "This is Admiral Hayes of the Terran Defense Force. You've chosen the wrong planet to invade." Hayes' voice had a chilling calmness to it, a stark contrast to the usual pleas or threats the Fran were accustomed to hearing. Zack felt an unfamiliar sensation creeping through his veins: doubt. As Admiral Hayes finished speaking, Zack replied, attempting to regain control of the situation. "Surrender now and we will show mercy to your people. Resist and face annihilation." Hayes' laughter echoed through the bridge. "You misunderstand, Commander. We are not here to negotiate. We've been preparing for this day. Welcome to Earth, the place where your conquest ends." With that, the Terran vessel unleashed a beam of energy that sliced through the lead Fran battleship, splitting it in two. The bridge exploded into chaos as alarms blared and emergency protocols activated. "Return fire!" Zack shouted, but even as he gave the order, he knew it was futile. The human ship moved with a grace and precision that defied everything they knew about space warfare. The Fran fleet retaliated, their powerful plasma cannons lighting up the darkness of space, yet the Terran ship danced through the barrage, its shields absorbing the impact with ease. More human ships began to rise from the planet's surface, each one more advanced than the last. "Commander, we need to regroup," Sol shouted, his voice barely audible over the din. Zack clenched his mandibles. Retreat had never been an option in their conquests, but this was different. This was a fight they were not prepared for. "All ships, fall back to the rendezvous point. We need to reassess our strategy." As the Fran fleet began its hasty retreat, the humans did not pursue. Instead, they hovered in formation, a silent testament to their newfound power. Back on the Fran flagship, Zack paced the command deck, his mind racing. "How did we underestimate them so drastically?" he muttered to himself. "Sir, it appears they've been advancing their technology in secret," Sol replied, still analyzing the data. "Our intelligence reports were outdated. This level of technological development, it's unprecedented." Zack's eyes narrowed. "Prepare a message to the Emperor. We need reinforcements. This isn't just a battle anymore, it's a war for survival." But even as he gave the order, a nagging doubt lingered in his mind. What if reinforcements wouldn't be enough? What if humanity had truly become the dominant force in the galaxy, a force that even the mighty Fran Empire could not overcome? On the surface of Earth, Admiral Hayes watched the retreating Fran fleet with a satisfied smile. "They'll be back," he said to Captain Rock, his second-in-command. "And when they do, we'll be ready." Rock nodded. "They won't know what hit them." The new energy weapons work better than we anticipated. That they did, Hayes replied, but we can't get complacent. This was just the first wave. They'll return with more ships, more firepower. We need to be ready to show them that Earth is not just a planet to be conquered, it's a fortress. As Hayes turned to leave the command center, he paused, looking at the image of the Fran fleet on the screen. They thought they could take us by surprise, he mused. They thought we were weak. Today, they learned just how wrong they were. The room fell silent as Hayes walked out, the weight of the coming war heavy on his shoulders. The Fran had started this conflict, but it would be humanity that finished it. Earth was prepared to fight, and they would not stop until the Fran Empire learned the true cost of underestimating humanity. The day the humans answered would be remembered as the turning point in a war that would reshape the galaxy, and for the first time in history, it was humanity who held the upper hand. The Fran reinforcements arrived within a week, a vast armada that filled the sensors of every human ship with a relentless stream of data. Admiral Hayes stood on the bridge of the TDF Resolute, the flagship of the Terran Defense Force, as his crew analyzed the incoming fleet. Commander Zach's message must have been convincing, Captain Rock remarked, watching the screens. That's a lot of ships. Hayes nodded, his expression serious. They won't underestimate us again. This time, they'll throw everything they have at us. As the Fran ships moved into formation, Hayes turned to his communications officer. Send a message to all ships. We hold the line here. No one retreats. This is our home, and we will defend it. The response was immediate, a chorus of acknowledgements from the Terran fleet. Each captain, each crew member knew the stakes. This was not just about Earth, it was about humanity's place in the galaxy. Commander Zach stood on the bridge of the Fran flagship, the Imperator, studying the Terran formations. The humans had positioned themselves strategically, taking advantage of the planetary defenses and their advanced technology. They've set up a strong perimeter, Sol observed. Breaking through will be costly. Zach's mandibles clicked in frustration. Costly or not, we have no choice. The Emperor demands victory. Prepare the fleet for a full-scale assault. As the Fran ships advanced, the space between them and the human fleet erupted with the fury of battle. Plasma bolts and energy beams crisscrossed the void, lighting up the darkness with deadly precision. The humans fought with a tenacity that surprised even Zach. On the Resolute, Hayes watched the Fran assault unfold. Deploy the drones, he ordered. Let's see how they handle our newest toys. From the hangars of the Terran ships, swarms of combat drones poured out, each one equipped with cutting-edge weaponry and autonomous AI. They darted through the battlefield, targeting Fran ships with ruthless efficiency. Drone strikes are effective, sir, reported Lieutenant Kaminsky, monitoring the battle from his station. We're inflicting significant damage on their smaller vessels. Hayes nodded. Good. Keep the pressure on. We need to break their momentum. On the Imperator, Zach was beginning to realize the true extent of humanity's advancements. Their drones are wreaking havoc on our lines, Sol reported. We need to adapt quickly. Zach issued rapid orders to his fleet, directing them to focus their fire on the swarms of drones. As the Fran ships adjusted their tactics, the drones began to take losses, but the cost in Fran ships was high. The humans have anticipated our every move, Zach said, frustration creeping into his voice. How have they come this far so fast? We underestimated them, Sol replied. And now we're paying the price. Zach knew his lieutenant was right. This was no longer just a battle, it was a test of wills, a contest to see who could outlast the other, and the humans were proving to be formidable opponents. Back on Earth, the battle was being watched by billions. Every screen, every broadcast showed the unfolding conflict. In bunkers and command centers across the globe, military leaders coordinated their defenses, ready to support the fleet above. In one such bunker, General Marcus Steele reviewed the latest reports. The Fran are throwing everything they have at us, he said, looking at the assembled officers. But our fleet is holding. Hayes and his men are doing their job. But for how long? One officer asked. The numbers are overwhelming. Steele's gaze was steely. As long as it takes. We've come too far to lose now. As the battle raged on, the tide began to turn. The human ships, though outnumbered, were holding their ground with a ferocity that stunned the Fran. The Terran fleet's superior tactics and technology were making a difference. "Sir, we've breached their second line of defense," Kaminsky reported, his voice filled with excitement. "We're pushing them back." Hayes allowed himself a small smile. "Keep up the pressure. We're not done yet." On the Imperator, Zach realized that the battle was slipping away from him. The humans were not only holding their ground, they were winning. "We can't sustain these losses," Sol warned. "If we don't withdraw, we'll be defeated." The word stung Zach's pride, but he knew Sol was right. "Order a retreat," he said reluctantly. "We'll regroup and reassess our strategy." As the Fran ships began to retreat, the human fleet did not pursue. They had won the battle, but the war was far from over. Back on Earth, cheers erupted as the news spread: humanity had repelled the Fran invasion. But the victory was bittersweet. The cost had been high, and everyone knew the Fran would return. In the command center of the Resolute, Hayes looked out at the debris-strewn space where the battle had taken place. "This was just the beginning," he said quietly. "The Fran will be back, and next time, they'll be even more determined." Rock nodded in agreement. "But so will we. They've learned we won't go down easily. We'll be ready when they return." Hayes smiled grimly. "Yes, we will. And when they do, we'll show them once again why Earth is a place not to be trifled with." The battle was over, but the war for Earth's survival had just begun. The day the humans answered had marked the beginning of a new era, an era in which humanity would fight for its place in the galaxy, and they would stop at nothing to defend their home.